In this mini lesson, we're going to look at how to multiply and divide rational numbers. So let's start with multiplication. Okay, remember when the same rules hold true of integers. If you are multiplying two negative integers or dividing two negative integers, you're going to get a positive. If you have a positive and a negative integer, then you will have a negative product or quotient. So we're going to do some examples just to review that. So looking at these two fractions, we have 2/5 times 1/3. So when you multiply fractions, it's relatively simple just to remember that you multiply the numerators and you multiply the denominators. So we have 2 times 1 over 5 times, not 5, but 3. So we get 2/15. Okay, and then simplify if needed. In this case, 2/15 is in simplest form, so we're good to go there. Okay, let's look at another one, and I'll mix up the color so these aren't blending together. I have 3/5 times 1 1/2. Okay, so here we have a proper fraction times a mixed number. We want to change this mixed number into an improper fraction so we can easily multiply our numerators and denominators. So to do that, we need to multiply the denominator by the whole number and then add the numerator. That's how we change a mixed number to an improper fraction. So we're just going to go ahead and rewrite this. So 3/5, of course, times 1 times 2, or I'm sorry, 2 times 1 plus 1, and then that's all over 2. So if we rewrite that again, we would have 3/5 times 3/2. Okay, 3 times 3 is 9, 5 times 2 is 10, so 9/10. All right, and that's not able to be reduced. It's in simplest form, so we're good there. All right, let's look at one more before we look at throwing in some negative fractions. So let's say we have 1/4 times 2/9. So what you can do with these to eliminate some of the reducing is you can take the cross products and find the GCF of them. So we could actually reduce this to 2 and 1. Okay, and then we can go ahead and multiply it out. So 1 times 1 over 9 times 2, which is 18. Okay, if you find that confusing, let's go ahead and look at it the other way, just because you don't have to do it that way. You don't have to get rid of, reduce that 2 and the 4. You could just leave it the way it was. So let's say we have 1/4 times 2/9. You can go ahead and just multiply those out, so it would be 2 over 36, and if you reduced 2 over 36, you would have 1/18. Okay, so those products do match. It's just this way over here allows you to not have to reduce in this case. All right, let's look at one where we have a positive and a negative. So let's, typically you're going to see these surrounded in parentheses, not always, but let's say we have this one, we have negative 3/4 times 3/8. So what we're doing here is multiplying the numerators and denominators just like we were doing before, but we have that negative symbol in front of it, in front of that 3/4. So we could just write it like this. We could put our negative symbol there and then just do 3 times 3 over 4 times 8. Okay, and that's going to give us negative 9/32. All right, so that's one way of looking at it. Remember, when we have a negative times a positive, your product will be negative. All right, same goes for division. If you have a negative times a positive, it would also be a negative. Okay, so now let's look at some division problems. Oh, let's look at one more where we have two negatives. So let's say we have negative 1/2 times negative 3/4. All right, so we would have negative 1 times negative 3 over 2 times 4. Okay, negative 1 times negative 3 is 3/8. So this is positive. So remember, when you have two negatives, you will have a positive product. Okay, moving on to division. Okay, before we talk about how to divide fractions, I just want to review a term called the reciprocal. Because this is something you'll need to be able to know in order to divide fractions. So when we say reciprocal, what it means is we are flipping our numerators and denominators. So let's say we have the reciprocal of 1/2. So the reciprocal of 1/2 would be 2 over 1. So we're basically moving this guy up here and moving that one down here. So we're just flipping our numerators and denominators. Okay, so that's all that we're talking about with reciprocal. So let's say that we want to know what the reciprocal of, and then let's just do a couple examples. Let's say we have 3/8. So we want to flip our numerator and denominator. And basically, when you do that, you're going to get a product of 1. So we have 8 equals 8/3. Now, when you do that, you'll see that your product is going to be 24 over 24, which is 1. Okay, so just want to point that out, that that is what happens with the reciprocal. You're basically flipping the numerator and denominator. Okay, so one more. If we have the reciprocal of let's say we want to find the reciprocal of a mixed number. So we have 2 and 3/8. Okay, so in order to find the reciprocal of this, we first have to convert it into a improper fraction. Okay, once we do that, we'll be able to find the reciprocal. So we multiply the denominator by the whole number and then add our numerator. So 8 times 2 is 16 plus 3 is 19. So 19 over 8 is our improper fraction. And then the reciprocal of that would be 8 over 19. Okay, so that's our reciprocal. All right, so now that we've looked at that, let's go ahead and look at how we are going to divide our fractions here. So we want to find the quotient of, let's say, 1/3 and 1/2. So when you're dividing fractions, what you do is you rewrite this as multiplication and you multiply by the reciprocal. So 1/3 times 2 over 1. Okay, so 1/3 times 2 over 1 is 2/3. All right, let's go ahead and look at another one here. So we have 3/8 divided by 2/3. Okay, so we have 3/8 times 3/2. Multiply the numerators. 3 times 3 is 9/16. All right, let's look at one where we're dividing a mixed number. Okay, so we're going to divide a mixed number here. So we have 3/4 divided by 2 1/2. 3/4 divided by 2 1/2. The first thing we want to do is we have to change that 2 1/2 to a improper fraction. So 3/4 divided by 2 1/2 would be 5/2. Go ahead and multiply by the reciprocal. The reciprocal of 5/2 is 2/5, so 3/4 times 2/5 is going to be 6/20. Okay, go ahead and reduce that to 3/10. All right, thanks for watching. Hope you have a great day.